There, and thanks for tuning in another episode of Articulate Thoughts. Today is Tuesday, November 1st, and for me, it marks a pretty significant day. So, exactly 1 year ago, I jumped into this car with pretty much all my personal belongings, uh, went to my grandparents' grave, said a prayer, asked for blessings, thanked them for their wisdom, and headed out west about 4,000 kilometers and just went on a road trip experiencing different parts of Canada I've never been to before and just pursuing something different. And I think for me, it was also a significant date because my grandmother was born on November 1st, and it was her last words that was the seed that eventually germinated into the inspiration to just take up all my stuff and go somewhere else and experience life in a different way. And it's been a very, very interesting year. A lot of cognitions and a lot of awareness happening, and also a lot of avoidance and running away from things. Turning back the clocks, I would say right a year ago, I'm experiencing very similar things in October. A lot of shifting, a lot of changing, and decisions that have to be made, and not exactly sure if it was the right thing or not. And it makes me think back a year ago when I was preparing to leave my hometown and just having all these thoughts and feelings and ideas, and it's interesting how similar it is. Um, Also, I had to be completely honest with myself. I think at the time, I was telling everyone I was really focused on going on an adventure and building a new life and um, just discovering all this new stuff about myself. But in honest reality, a big part of it, a lot of the motivation was to run away from stuff I didn't really want to confront. And throughout the year, I would just say you know, I just try to always cover things up with things that were new, and just the novelty of experiencing a new place and making new friends and a new job and all this kind of stuff. Like it really drew me in and really got me excited. But it was a very short term kind of feeling. Like after a few weeks or a month or even, it just kind of wore off, and I would just try to look for another thing to fill that void. And especially with like the last month coming up, it was becoming very, very evident that you know in terms of my internal self and like me as a person, I haven't really changed a whole lot. I haven't developed as much as I really intended to, because I allowed myself to just get distracted and I really lost focus and not have much clarity as to what I was doing or my goals. And I think that's reflected in a lot of different things that I'm putting out, particularly this like video blog. There's not a consistent goal or anything. It's just kind of whatever I feel like today and whatnot. But again, like the my intention behind making these videos is just to do something consistent, just to demonstrate the strength of character and just do something no matter if I think it's going to be good or, you know, if I'm not going to get the result that I really want to desire or whatnot. But I just wanted to just kind of take today to reflect and just see where I really am in a very honest way. And I think in a lot of ways I have developed in a sense of being independent and having to figure out things that I never had to really figure out before. And just really being honest and like really, really being sincere with the experience of what's happening. And uh, I feel like there's a lot of like this happens to like a lot of people where they kind of feel like if only their exterior physical reality changed, they would feel better in the inside. Like that was definitely what I was, my thought process behind going, packing up my stuff and like moving 4,000 kilometers across the country. I just felt like I just needed a new opportunity to be a new environment, and all this other stuff. If all this other stuff is new, then like I would become a new person, and yeah, like to be honest, like I definitely like missed the market in a lot of those categories, and it's because I haven't changed inside as a person. Yeah, sure, like I put a lot of time and effort to save up the money and move out here and try to make that change, but on the inside, I'm very much very similar, and I think I just have a very very stubborn personality. It's like very dominant trait in my family line, but like everything happens for a reason, and I do feel like there is a reason for me to be in Calgary in the moment, and I just kind of had a conversation with someone about the situation of the city in itself, and I think the timing of it is quite perfect. Um, there's a big part of me that was seeking something more of a spiritual nature, something in higher awareness, particularly pursuing music in treating it in a more of a sacred way, or just kind of deviating from how the mainstream culture has really been using music. I feel like music is an essential component of human life. I don't think you can really live without music. I mean, you watch a movie, there's like background music all the time because it conveys the emotion, and takes the dialogue in itself and takes brings the emotional aspect in it. And I just feel a lot of mainstream culture uses music to like advertise a certain message, or maybe even some cases maybe like brainwash or do some kind of brainwashing, or some kind of um, subtle suggestions or like propaganda or whatnot. And I think a lot of people kind of miss out on the opportunity for like the healing tool that music can be if the intention is put there. So I just want to like be part of some kind of movement or some kind of culture or community that kind of conveyed that. And I feel like in the past year I have integrated myself in the dance community here in Calgary. And it is something that it's a very interesting observation too, because I had a cousin who was living in Calgary, and she moved her and her family to Nelson. And when I was in Nelson, I got a chance to talk to her and sit down with her, and she had said like Calgary is going through, it's very obvious, a very evident change. Like a lot of people here come here for the money, and the oil and gas industry was blooming, and there was a lot of opportunity to make money, and a lot of people came here, got into a situation, they're making lots of money, they got the car, they got the house, they got the family and everything else, but there's just was still something missing, and a lot of people are very open to like more of a spiritual experience because they're looking for something like that's beneficial internally. So, and I think I was in that place too. Like maybe I didn't have like the money or the cars and all that kind of stuff, but I definitely had that desire to pursue something beyond the physical realm and experience more of like a mental, emotional, spiritual development. And I would say like that's like pretty much my biggest accomplishment coming out here is like I feel like I like everything I have learned in the past few years has been reaffirmed, and I just have a stronger conviction in what I believe, and uh, slowly but surely all the pieces are coming together. And it's also teaching me like patience is a big part of the process, being consistent with my efforts and then being focused, being very clear in what I want, and just being very very tight with my lifestyle and my practices. So I have made steps forward in that way, but I guess on the, like I guess a lot of a big part of it too is like I'm just reflecting on my own self. And I think a lot of times you need people around you that really understand you and love you and care about you to get honest feedback from them too, and that's very very valuable to get someone else's perspective on things. So yeah, so just wanted to commemorate that 1 year mark for me, and I feel like this has been a very slow year, but I've really developed myself in terms of establishing some sort of foundation here in Calgary, and I really look forward to like moving forward and building a stronger social circle, and uh, building different dance communities and contributing what I can to like the movement happening here. So if anyone would like to contribute and like kind of like maybe share a story of some kind of major shift that you had in your life where you took some major action and maybe inspired you to do different things, yeah, please leave a comment or share, or if you have any questions or anything, please leave that too. So thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you next week. Take care.